Alright, so to plug my YouTube channel, if you have not been on my YouTube channel, all you have to do is search Micah Hudson. So that will cause me to pop up. Actually, if you search Micah Hudson, I'm now like the 3rd or 4th result. I guess when I search it, I pop up first. But yeah, there's a couple other people out there. Those are not me. I'm not the cat. I am the Keep Calm and Do Math. Then you click on videos. Guys, I have been posting a lot of different help videos. So you'll see yesterday was more Math 8 and Math 2 that people were asking me for help. And I'm changing how I title these videos because unless it's a lesson, which this was a lesson, the date doesn't matter on the help videos. It's just whenever you're doing that homework that, you're doing it then. It doesn't matter when I actually recorded the video. So on the help videos, I'm going to stop putting the date just because it doesn't matter. But you'll see on the lesson videos, like what I'm recording right now, actually. So this will be like a recording inside of a recording inside of a recording. Oh my gosh. But yeah, on the lesson videos, we have dates. So if you were absent from school and you want to watch the lesson video, please come check that there. Otherwise, look for help videos, which, sorry, some of these titles you can't really see what it is because the date and everything. But yeah, a lot of solving equations help on here. And there are people sitting in this room that have emailed me for help, and I've responded to you with a video because sometimes we don't get a chance to actually get together at AOR Extensions. And I will make a video and send it over to you. And that is how we can roll. Graph paper pencil mastery. If you didn't turn that in Friday, please stick it in the bin now. I'm trying to give them a couple days to sit before I grade them. I'll probably grade them on Friday because we have the day off, and then I'll let them sit all weekend. So when I give them back to you, they're like as clean as possible. But yeah, for anyone who's like worried about that, of course I'll like wash my hands before I grade everything else. I'm even trying to buy like brand new pens just to be my specific grading pens. Desmos. We'll play a Desmos game if we have time at the end of class, which we should, because based off yesterday's lesson, we should have time at the end of class. Oh, the reason I left my camera up high, I wanted to make a reminder about Schoology. So if I drag Schoology up here and go to our math class, you'll notice I have an unpublished folder for Thursday. I won't be here on Thursday. Mr. Johnson, who's normally the sub over at Academy, but he subbed in Language Arts for like a day, and I forget if it was with you guys or not. But Mr. Johnson will be filling in for me. I sort of know Lane because we're in the same fraternity, which is like an organization you can join in college. We weren't in it together because he's a lot younger than me. Okay, maybe not a lot. He's younger than me, though. But this will be published, so when you come to class on Thursday, you'll just come into Schoology, look at what I have published for you, and you'll go from there. Part of that will probably be watching a video from Wednesday's class that, like, I teach you guys, because we need to do some division with mixed numbers, which we won't get to today, so that'll be in the folder for Thursday. What's up? I can't hear you. Oh, yeah, we got to use eHallPass, so will you pull out your computer and pull that up while I finish making this announcement? Then I'll pull up my eHallPass. Everything we're doing now is in the hybrid learning materials folder. Everything we did before is now remote learning. So weeks 1 through 4, I've put into the remote learning folder just to clean things up back here. But everything now, so like our notes from the past 3 weeks, I can't edit this now. So now I'll have a separate one for week 7 and a separate one for week 8. But guys, I took the time to take all the pictures of all the notes from the past 3 weeks. So if you missed any notes, or if you want to go back and review something that we did, or just go back and like, when people ask, how do you study math? This is one way that you can study math. Go back and review what we talked about. Not all of these notes were taken with your class. So the color might look different, or it might repeat. So especially if you see 10.5 on multiple pages of notes, that might be repeating what a previous class did. But we talked about keep, change, flip. I show some tough math examples. So please go back and check those notes if you want. And then since we've been back in hybrid, we've used Desmos join links, so I nested those in there as well. But I left my easy links out here for Khan Academy, my YouTube, and our Zoom link. Any questions about any of that? And I'm going to pull up my eHallPass. All right, let's go ahead and get out your graph paper and head it. multiplication and division. Because what we're going to talk about is why do we multiply? It's not the 12th. For you, it's the 13th. But I realized I was using a lot of paper. Guys, I end up teaching the same thing 6 times. So if I write it for each class, I would be using like 6 times the amount of paper that I might use otherwise. So that's why today I'm not going to write this part live. I'm going to write probably a different part live because I thought up another problem I want to try with you guys. Alright, so I'm going to adjust my camera so we don't see as much on the frame at one time. And then probably do this. Lily, you got that going? We just have to make sure if they're available or not. Yep, you're good now. And I think you'll want to go to the main office and ask from there. I'm not quite sure. Alright, so I got this little card from Dr. Bowers, our superintendent. So now I can use this little Worthington card as my page blocker. A little bit of shameless advertisement there. So, guys, why do we multiply? What do you think? Anyone got any ideas? Why do we multiply? No, we might as well not multiply then. If there's no reason to multiply, we might as well not do it. So let's just go back to addition subtraction, right? Come on, I know it's early, but yeah, please. Yes, thank you, Isis. We multiply to show repeated addition. So if you just want to write repeated addition as like what reminds you of that, and guys, I know we talked about multiplication before, but now we're going to be talking about fractions and mixed numbers. And before we talked about like the positive and negative rules. And then from there, we talked about a little bit of division. We're going to go deeper on that stuff today. So also, we multiply to show multiples of things, or if not things, it might be portions of things. So by things, I mean like whole things. Right? Like how many pizzas? How many donuts? How many boxes of cookies? But if we start talking about like a slice of pizza, that would be a portion of a bigger object. Right? So we use fractions in multiplication to represent portions of things. So please make sure that you've got the word portions written down. We multiply with fractions to show portions. So, some examples, right? 5 packs of donuts. I'm guessing if you're not writing, you're just a faster writer than me, but everybody should be writing. Now you can go ahead and think of your own examples for a moment. When do we use multiplication out in the world? And if you want to raise a hand and contribute them to our list, I'd be happy to hear when you multiply out in the world. Obviously, I'm kind of stuck on donuts. Donuts and pizza, guys. Those are my go-to. Ooh, chicken wings, too. I ate chicken wings last night. Realize how much I love those. So, another example. What if I tell you the other day I ate half a pizza when I moved my buddy? Well, so this is where the and division comes in, right? So you guys should be pretty used to situations like 5 times 12. 5 packs of a dozen donuts. That multiplication is easier, right? We don't say easy, but we can say easier. But fractions, right? If I tell you I ate half a pizza, well, what do you need to know before you could tell me how many slices I ate? If I tell you I ate half of a pizza. Yeah, Jocelyn? Yeah, so on Saturday when I moved my buddy, the pizza was cut into like weird rectangle things like Donato's normally does. So those sort of slices are a little hard to work with mathematically. I want you thinking about a standard like Domino's pizza with triangle slices, or Pizza Hut, whatever you want to think, the triangle slices, right? Most of the time, those are 8 slices, the large, maybe 10, but we're going to go with 8 because it's a nice number to work with, but it's kind of interesting. Now, half of a pizza, another way we can say half of something is to divide by 2, right? So please put down this example that multiplication by a half is the same thing as dividing by 2. And we can prove that if we work with 8 slices and say, okay, if we're going to take the pizza and divide it by 2, I would not suggest eating half of a pizza. Maybe, depending on how big it is. So guys, here's the big thing that I would like you to show. 1/2 times 8. I got some people not writing. 1/2 times 8 is the same exact thing as 8 divided by 2. And here's your justification. I'll just show all this and I'll give you a moment to write. If we apply our keep, change, flip process, if you look at what I have written in just red, I went from 8 divided by 2. I did keep, change, flip, and turned it into 8 times 1/2. Both of those answers are the same. This is like where we talked about subtraction being addition. Remember when we talked about like subtraction is really addition? Division is really multiplication. But like addition had to be addition of the opposite, right? To turn subtraction into addition, we did addition of the opposite. Instead of multiplication of the opposite, it's multiplication of the, what do we call it when we flip that fraction over? Yeah, go ahead. Reciprocal. Guys, remember, we're in person. You can just like shout things out. So division by a number is the same as the multiplication by the reciprocal. Division by a number, like division by 2. I made 2 into a fraction just by putting it over 1, but we know this is really just 2. Division by a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Any questions on the top part of this page? I like that camera view. I finally got like what I feel like is a good amount of paper showing at once, and then I'll mess it up next time I go to take pictures of all the pages. Anyone do anything cool over the weekend? I'm trying to give you guys time to write and make sure I don't go too fast. When we took the test last week, did you find your notes useful, or did you actually like, oh, I know this stuff, I don't even need my notes? Anyone want to give me some feedback? Isis? Yeah, so that feeling is when you start to say like, oh, maybe I've mastered this. Like, I don't need help. I don't need notes. Mia, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I used some of the notes, but I mostly did it by myself.
Nice. Sky? Nice. I dig it. I like giving you guys the opportunity, but I also like hearing I didn't need them, right? That's a great point of feedback. But just in case, make sure we're taking good notes, because if we go back to use them, whether it's on a test or whether it's when we're practicing, we want to have good notes taken. So, is GameStop still a place that like people go to buy video games? Like, okay, just making sure like the pandemic. I know the pandemic's hit some places hard, but I assume GameStop is still like in good business. Charlie? That's not good. I'm not surprised to hear that. It makes me sad because I remember like going and browsing the used bins. I always bought used games. Yeah, that's sad. But let's say we're going to try to support GameStop and like try to save their business. We're going to go buy some new games. Now, I know inflation has happened, and y'all can judge me if you want, but back in my day, expensive for a game was like $50. So if I went to buy a new game, which I normally didn't, but I'd be paying $50. Now, if I'm going to GameStop and I'm the one buying the game, am I going to gain money or lose money? Lose, right? I'm going to give away my money to get a game. So we would represent that with a negative number, right? So like -50. But I get there and they tell me, man, we're going out of business. We could really use your help. Like, can you buy a couple games? Can you buy 3 games? I'm like, yeah, I can buy 3 games. I have not bought 3 video games in a long time. I guarantee since you've been alive, I have not bought 3 video games. Like, in the entire time that you've been alive, I don't think I've bought 3 video games. I'm busy. I bought 3 power tools. I'll tell you that. So, if I bought 3 games at a loss of $50 each, or a cost of $50, what's that total? Just shout it out. Oh my gosh, I love that you said the negative. It's $150, but because I'm spending it, it's -150. Now, Charlie, you sound like you know your games. So, Charlie actually says, hey, I was thinking about buying that game too. If you're cool to share the game, I'll split the cost with you. So, one of those games, I actually split with Charlie. So, we're going to go ahead and say, okay, so the $50 we're going to split between 2 people. Another way that we could say that is Charlie and I, each of us, are going to pay what fraction? 1/2. So, yeah, what is 1/2 of -50? It's -25. So another way that we could say this, and I'm going to write it in the other order. If I show you based off keep, change, flip, here's how we get there. But another way we could write this is Charlie and I, each of us, are going to pay half of the -50, and that equals -25. So Charlie and I are each going to pay half. So this is just a little reminder on our positive and negative rules. Fractions don't mess with those rules, right? So if I have a negative and I multiply with it, boom. If I have a negative and I divide with it, boom. We stay negative. Any questions on this? That's the sit on that. Careful though. It's the one that doesn't stay up. It's kind of fun, kind of scary when kids sit on it like for the first time. All right, guys, let's get pizza. You want to get some pizza?
Yes.
So here's the only issue with us getting pizza. We didn't get enough. I know, right? Right when we got excited. Oh yeah, I can't do what I was doing. I gotta write this new with you guys. So let's say we'll do Pettigrew's group first. So Pettigrew's group ate pizza. Like advisor group, my advisor group ate some pizza. Miss Allie's advisor group ate some pizza. Miss Goldring's advisor group ate some pizza. The whole pod has eaten pizza. And we're out of pizza. And then Mr. Estes and Mr. Cabilo walk over and they're like, hello, where's our pizza? And we're like, oh yeah. So 4 out of the 6 advisor groups have gotten their pizza, have eaten pizza. We ate 24 pizzas. Victor, do you need a pencil? Like, writing with a highlighter is probably kind of tough. Here, dude. Oh, you got a pencil. Just leave that. I was about to say, I don't know why we're writing with a... I just got worried that we were writing notes with a highlighter. So, guys, I want us to get in a habit. We see a fraction over here. Let's go ahead and make this into a fraction. How do I make 24 into a fraction? Put it over 1. Guys, this is exactly like a problem that you're seeing in Khan Academy. It's exactly like what you're going to be asked to do on the Mastery. So, in our brain, what we might be thinking is, I see I see multiplication. I want to divide. But when I think, you don't have to write this down. When I think divide by fraction, what my brain should immediately be alerting me is, oh wait, divide by fraction, that actually, that activates keep, change, flip. So wait, what I would actually do is multiply by reciprocal, because instead of dividing, we multiply. And we wrote that right over here, what I wrote in blue, right? Instead of dividing by a number, we can multiply by its reciprocal. And the reason we do that here, we wrote this rule down previously, but the reason we do this here, if I was you, I would write this down. A fraction times its reciprocal is equal to 1. So what we are going to do is say, oh, over here, what we want is 1p. To get to 1p, we're just going to multiply by the reciprocal of 4/6. What's the reciprocal of 4/6? Yeah, flip it, we get 6 over 4. Now, can I just do it on the left side? Yeah, we have to do it on the right also. So we multiply by 6 over 4. Now, my in-between, I'm going to write it in like a kind of a lighter color. When we multiply fractions, which is part of your practice work right now also, go straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So we get 24 over 24, which is good, because that'll make 1 for us. Now, I break up tough multiplication like this. 6 times 20, well, what's 6 times 2? 12, put the 0 on, we get 120. 6 times 4, we just did that over here, that's 24. So we get 144 over 4, right? Because if we multiply straight across the bottom, we just get 4. Um, 144, I can actually think back to these broken up numbers, 120 and 24. Well, 120 divided by 4, that would work out, and 24 divided by 4, that would work out. So, sorry, I should draw a line to split this. This was kind of in its own box, doing its own thing. Well, this is 30, right? Because 12 divided by 4 is 3, then put the 0 on. 24 divided by 4, 6. So, our pizza, our P, the amount of pizzas we should have ordered for all of us should have been 36. The amount of pizzas we should have ordered should have been 36. We had gotten 24. Now, here's another way to do this. Like, another way to think through it, right? I'm here to just help you learn how to think, mostly about math. But the problem we just had told us 4/6 of our groups, of the people that we wanted to feed, got pizza, and that was 24 pizzas. Guys, think about this. 4 groups ate, right? Our 4 classrooms in the pod, we ate. I could also just say, well, how much did each advisory eat? Well, if 4 of them ate 24 pizzas, we would need to do 24 divided by 4, right? To figure out how much each advisory had ate. Back at the beginning of the story, right? When we left out Estes and Kabila, we accidentally forgot about them. Instead of doing division by 4, I could also keep, change, flip. Well, I know that any number is really over 1, so 4, I can really make 4 over 1. and we could do 24 times 1/4. Either way we do this, we get 6, right? Each advisor group ate 6. And then how many total advisor groups do we have? 6. Actually, I asked the question that I realized you guys may not know. We have 6 advisor groups, right? Mr. Smith does not actually have like an advisor group. So it's just us 6 core teachers. So if we know that 6 is for each group, then we could take that and multiply it by the 6 groups that we have and get 36 pizzas, right? Which is the same that we got up here. So there are multiple ways to think through math, always. Always, 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 multiple ways to think through it. I want you guys to try that reciprocal multiplication that we did up here on this problem that I'm about to write. Then I'm going to walk around and just make sure that everyone's taking notes. Just a real quick lap of the room. Blue? Yeah, we haven't used blue on this page. 3/8 Z equals 18. Oh, well, we said let's get in the habit of going ahead and making a fraction. So I could put 18 over 1. Then after this, I got a problem about Mr. Flynn's wife's truffles. She makes some awesome truffles. So you just started a new page. So if we're thinking back to the rules that we wrote down up here, we want to multiply by the reciprocal. Right? So if I come back to the problem that we're looking at, anyone would volunteer to tell me what to do? How often do you get to tell teachers what to do? This is sweet. Isis? Yeah, we... Go ahead. Yeah, so we don't even have to say keep, change, flip. I like that you did. All we really have to say is multiply by reciprocal. Because the only reason we have to do keep, change, flip is if we set up division. So up here we wrote that because we thought about, hey, if I divide, what happens? But instead of thinking about division, we can just go ahead and say, oh, multiply by the reciprocal. So multiply by 8 over 3. Now, like we said up top, we have to do it on both sides. So multiply by 8 over 3. Now, there's actually another shortcut I want to talk about. So don't do this math on the right-hand side yet. If you already did, that's fine. I'm just going to show you a shortcut. So over here, when we multiply, we get 24 over 24 times z. Right? So that's going to make 1z. That's what we want. Sweet. Over here, I want to show you another new strategy called cross-reducing. And guys, I really don't know why it's called cross, so I'm going to put that in quotations. When I look at 18 and I look at 3, now, it doesn't matter if they're diagonal from each other. Really, all that matters is that they're top, bottom. So instead of saying cross, if you want to write top, bottom, sorry, that's a parenthesis, top, bottom, reducing, that's almost a better name. Because what we're looking for is a number on the top and a number on the bottom that can reduce by the same number. So what that means is divide by the same number. What can 18 and 3 both divide by? 3. So if we divide by 3 and divide by 3, what this becomes is easier. Right? Not easy, but easier. 18 divided by 3 is 6, and the 1 comes with it. Nothing happened with the 8 on top, but 3 divided by 3 becomes 1. Guys, my denominator is now just 1 times 1, which is sweet. That's a whole lot easier. So if I do 6 times 8, 1 times 1, 6 times 8, 8, 16, 24, 48. Thank you very much. I always appreciate the confirmation while I'm counting on my fingers. And since that was equal to 24 over 24z, that's just 1z equals, well, I don't need the 1 on bottom here. We can just say 48. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, sorry, any questions here? This is the same process we had taken up top on this sheet. Excuse me. Yeah, so because we want to isolate the variable, and really we want to isolate one of the variable, the numbers we're looking at are the ones on the same side as the variable. So here, the number that was attached to it was 3/8. That's why we use it to make the reciprocal 8/3. Yeah, thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it. Last thing we're going to do is talk about Miss Allie making fun of me and Mr. Flynn's wife's truffles. So here's my beautiful drawing of Mr. Flynn's wife's truffles. This is a true story. Can't make it up. So, I guess Mrs. Flynn, I could just say, instead of saying Mr. Flynn's wife, makes these awesome, like, cookie dough truffles. Victor, I'm talking about truffles. I know you're stretching out your neck, but you should get excited. All right, I don't know when my recording cut off, but here we go. We're talking about rationing food, and that has the root word of ratio. So a ratio that can describe this is that one truffle, if it's a pack of 3, one truffle's a third of the pack. Now, I like to spread my food